I'm betting nobody can see me. Look at that. I have the light over my thing. That's not very productive. Well, nobody was here, but it'll be shown plenty time on the replay. That's right. That's right. I'm late. I'm 10 minutes late. I've had a house full of grandkids all day. I have. It was lovely. It was lovely. Um, that's about it. We'll wait till some people get here. If anybody shows up, you never know with me. Sometimes I'll have a room full of 112, and other times I have a room full of 60, and sometimes I have two. Yeah, you never know. Hi, Twin Flame Power. Um, I don't know. I guess today I have a lot on my mind. A lot on my mind. There's a lot of things going on in this world that's kind of not cool, you know? Um, there's a lot of things that go on in the world that's just not cool. And I know that this year, um, I really wanted to focus on. Oh, thank you. I don't. I don't know. I don't feel very. I don't feel that I look good, but that's fine. Thank you. Um, I guess there's a lot of people out there who are having problems in their connections or their relationships or their marriages or whatever. Um, I want to say this. Hi, Danny. Um, there is never, ever, ever, not one time ever, is it okay to stay in a relationship that's abusive in any way, shape, or form. If you are in a situation that you are having a hard time getting out of, let's talk because there is no reason why anybody should stay in a relationship that's not serving them, that's not kind and loving. And everybody out there, everybody, everybody, even the crackhead down the street, even the heroin addict, even the meth head up the road, even the one that, even your sister that abuses pills, all those things, nobody, nobody should ever stay in a relationship where they are being abused in any way, shape, or form. Mentally, physically, sexually, emotionally, um, all these things, you know. The hardest part of being of well of watching um, things, watching people, talking to people is fear. Why do we have fear? Why do we have fear that walking away is just going to destroy our lives? Why do we have that? We don't need that, right? Um, walking away is freedom. In most often in all cases, if there's abuse, it's freedom. You don't have to walk on eggshells anymore. You don't have to be yelled at or screamed at or hit or raped or emotionally manipulated or mentally manipulated. Any of those things, that in a loving, kind relationship, that kind of stuff doesn't happen. Someone who loves you is not going to belittle you, tear you down, tell you you're unlovable. I was recently told I was unlovable. Let's talk about that for a minute. Um, I was recently told that I was incapable of loving. Is it true? Probably. Probably, and probably not. I know that I'm capable, right? I know that um, I'm a very loving person. I have a very kind heart. I know that I'm a good person. And I don't have to prove that to anybody but me, right? Um, Growing up and being sexually abused and sexually manipulated and molested and raped, um, it it caused me to build a lot of walls up. Those are hard to break down. Those are made of concrete and steel. I mean, they're up there. There's still some up there, right? It used to be Fort Knox. You wasn't able to get in at all, but now at least you can get in. You know what I mean? There's a doorkeeper. Um, I give him permission on who to let in and who not to let in. It's still a coping mechanism. But when that you, someone tells you something about yourself, like was told to me, um, I pondered on it for a while. Um, I wondered, is it that I am unlovable? Is it that I am not capable of love? Is it true? Is it really true? Um, Maybe. I don't know. Um, I know that it's hard. It's hard for me to love. It's hard for me to love someone anyone who has hurt me. It's hard for me to look at people who have hurt me and trust them, right? Um, I was recently well, not recently, it's been a while back, put my trust into someone, and I was told that they weren't raised to keep their word. That wasn't a part of their family dynamic. That wasn't a part of their world. So they didn't know what she didn't know. They didn't know what um, your word is your bond, right? I mean, we've all heard that your word is your bond, and I feel like mine is. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm damn going to do it, right? I might be a little late. I might be I don't know, behind a little bit, but I'll be there eventually, right? Um, it's hard for me to trust. It's very hard for me to trust, especially when somebody says that they weren't taught to keeping their word is a bond. So it's hard for me to trust someone like that, right? So when I'm told something by that person, I tend to not believe them. And I guess I guess it's good and bad, right? Um, I also have a gift, and um, I don't normally would talk about that gift too often, but I know when somebody's lying to me. I know often. Nah, I'm not going to say often. I'm going to say always. I normally don't say anything. I will not say, "Well, that was a lie." Well, you're lying. There wasn't a bit of truth to that. I'm not going to do that. Um, I'm just going to know in my soul that it depends on the situation. One, it could be that the memory is tainted or disoriented or something, that the memory is cloudy, and that's not exactly the way that it happened, or that it just didn't happen, right? And this person, um, it's it's just really hard to trust someone who believes they're telling the truth, but they're not, right? It's hard to watch somebody um, it's hard to watch somebody take a course that's or take a road that's less peaceful, I guess I should say. But anyway, um, I just wanted to get that off my chest. And there's no good reason for anybody to be mistreating anybody, right? There's no reason for anybody to be putting down someone, to be telling them that they're not worth anything, to try to make someone feel like they're not loved. All of these things. Oh, hi, Eric. Um, oh, you're so sweet. That was uplifting. That's awesome. Um, and I love you too, Eric. Um, yeah. So I just I have a heart, and this year, um, we're going to tackle this abuse. We're going to tackle the um, the trauma that we have from the abusive situations we were once in. Um, I'm focusing on that trauma, my trauma, right? Um, my trauma that um, that's affected me in my life, and I'm never going to be able to correct it, right? But what I can do is go into every inch of it and feel the icky, and then make peace with it, right? Because I can't change it, but I can make peace with it, right? We I don't want the side effects anymore of my um abuse trauma. I don't want those side effects anymore. Um, I also don't want to be that person any longer who allows someone to disrespect them and allow someone to, I'm just not going to allow anybody to disrespect me. I'm not going to allow anybody to put me down or belittle me and make me feel or try to make me feel like I'm not worthy of anything. Coming from abusive situations, not situation, but situations, lots of them, right? I cowered. I cowered. When I was being physically abused by my ex-husband, I would be on the floor in fetal position while he was kicking and punching me and throwing things on me. That happened very often, right? And then I would get angry at myself. Why did I just fall in fetal position? Why did I was protecting my head, I was protecting my body, I was protecting myself, right? Um, Even through my teenage years when I was sexually abused, why didn't I stand up? Why didn't I? You know what? Enough of that. Enough of why. Why didn't I? Now it's going to get to the point um, of it's just not going to happen because I value myself more. I'm really rather focus this year on value and my value and your value, right? Um, I want to make sure that anybody who needs trauma healing, anyone who needs sexual trauma healing, anyone who needs abuse healing, um, I know that the universe is going to send them my way because this is a passion of mine. This year, I'm taking this on. I'm tackling it, and um, here's an interesting little bit of information. So I'm sitting watching the news. Sometimes we do that about once or twice a month, unless there's a snowstorm coming. And I love snowstorms, but I'm noticing that the schools are canceling school tomorrow, and I don't know why. I guess I'll have to watch the news and find out if there's snow coming because I'm super excited about the snow. But anyway, I don't believe in any way, shape, or form that um, if you're spiritually connected to someone, that there should ever be arguments. I get, right? I get. Um, you know, you this, you that. I get, right? It's 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 healthy in a way, right? As long as you do it in a healthy way, as long as you're not belittling one another and threatening one another and and constantly just berating one another. That's just not necessary, right? Um, Twin Flame Power said, I used to freeze and now I exit immediately towards safety. Right, right. Um, I I stand up now and I'm not going to, I may not, stand up to, a human being and say, you're not going to treat me like this, blah, 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 right? I just won't have you in my circle. You'll just be out of my circle. I have a very close, tight knit circle. It's very small, right? I have a lot of little outreaches, right? But going back and revisiting what I did on New Year's Eve in the morning when I did a little meditation, I really I sat in there for an extra 10 minutes, and I actually went through from the last memory I had, and I rolled through all the memories that I could muster up, right, that were icky. Um, and I looked at them, and I sort of visualized gathering them all up in front of me, and I stood in front of them and said, "Well, sure year, sure year. Um, we're going to face some things, and we're going to put them in healing, and all the little ick that's down in here, we're gonna clear out. And in the meantime, we're not going to let anything else happen to us," which also puts us in an odd position, right? Um, I guess this person, I guess this person said that I was incapable of love because of, um, I guess, I maybe it's because they feel, um, I don't, or that I'm not worthy of love, or I'm not worthy of happiness, or um, saying words such as, I do not know how to turn that stuff off. Um, um, I can't turn the bells and whistles off. I'm sorry, but I want to. And I lost my train of thought. But I want to. Oh, there, it's back. So I wanted to start this year and tackle this trauma, and we've started doing that. I mean, I've started some classes, and th- these courses are just as healing for me as they are everybody else that's in them. But nevertheless, um, I'm your girl for situationships, abuse. I'm your girl for how to get out. Um, I Some of you watched our journey, some of you haven't. But let me take you on a little trip, right? Um, I was I've always been a strong human. I've always been a strong person on the outside, because we build this armor, this exterior armor on us. And when I say us, I mean those of us who have been in serious abusive relationships, and or have been abused, raped, hit, all these things, abuse, um, talked down to, belittled, all these things. Um, what's happening here? Let me check the thing. Um, you're saying the best words right now. Thank you. Thank you. Um, hey, Sarah. Hi, Kelly. Their projection speaks to their own feelings about themselves, which is it's very true. It's very true. I I built this strong interior or exterior, and put this armor on, but the inside of me is was still mush. When I was in high school, I did a lot of fighting, right? A whole lot of physical fighting, right? You meet me at the park at 3 o'clock, or you meet me at the baseball field at 2. All this mess in junior high school. Most of the time in junior high school. In high school, not. There was some in my freshman year and my sophomore year. As a matter of fact, I got expelled my sophomore year for fighting. Um, my home life was miserable. It was I mean, my home life was I was being abused. Um, I was being raped daily, multiple times. Um, I was being raped in my sleep. Um, I had no power over my life, none. And I just went along with whatever it was, go with the flow, right? Um, Inside of me, I was just mush, mush. A leaf could blow over and it would make me cry. But nobody was going to see that. Nobody was going to see that. And um, we we tend to treat people like we don't trust them, and that's because we don't. And we want to trust everybody, but we don't, right? Because people who are abusive say things to us that gets in our brain, and our minds just go go go, right? When it was said to me that I am incapable of love, I pondered on that. I pondered on it hard, right? As a matter of fact, I was up most of the night when I pondered on it. And I guess that could be a pretty accurate perception of me, right? I don't, I project emotion now, but I didn't, right? Um, Especially if it's sad or mad or angry. I'm real good at that. What I'm not good at is um, expressing love, um, expressing love, right? Um, and I'm gonna tell you why. Somebody who has been severely sexually abused in any way, in any abuse in any way. Um, we why would we why would we it's going to sound toxic, but it's a head thing. Why would we touch? Why would we initiate? Why would we be super over affectionate? It's a protection mechanism, right? It's protection. We don't trust even the ones that we know we can trust. We don't trust. That is because the ones that we were supposed to be trusting have taken advantage of us. And now we are thrown to the wolves to try to figure it the fuck out, and we don't know what to do. We're thrown into careers, we're thrown into family situations, we're thrown into babies and school and marriages, and we're just thrown into life and don't realize that we walked out of that situation in one way, shape, or form, but we never looked back to go into healing over it. And then what happens is it just builds and builds and puts more bricks on the walls and puts more bricks on the walls. And then when someone comes along that we trust with everything we have in us, and they abuse you in some sort of way, it just adds extra padding. And when I say extra padding, it could be more walls, it could be weight, right? I've struggled with my weight my whole life. And most of it is because I felt subconsciously that I needed the weight for protection. If I was overweight, he wouldn't find me attractive. So that subconsciously follows along years later, right? And we're seemingly in amazing friendships and loving, kind situations and in relationships, and we find that that's being taken advantage of almost subconsciously. um, Vulnerability is weakness, so the more vulnerable we are, the more weak we feel we look, right? And then what happens is weak we feel right? We feel weak. And then that energy is projected out there, right? Instead of, when I was 25, 26, 27, um, I was weak, super weak. But I want to get back to something I just remembered. It's something super interesting. So 1995 and 1996 were two really, really rough years in my life. That everybody has just the worst year of their life, and mine was 1996. Well, it started in 1995 when my dad passed away. My dad passed away in 95. Bad year. Um, Super bad year. But then the next year, right? Um, I found that I'd been married since 1989. I had 3 kids. I had 3 daughters. And in 1999, 10 years later, we decided to go to church. So we went to church and we did the whole church thing. And I thought that it would help the physical abuse, and it didn't. Um, I got pregnant with my third daughter, and I knew at that point in time that the relationship was over. I wasn't vested anymore. I wasn't in there. Um, this was 99. Um, but nevertheless, way before that, in 96, my husband had an affair. Not one, but multiple. I was home keeping the house. Um, he was a musician, and he also had a full time job, and he slept with a couple other people, and it devastated me. Did I leave? No, I didn't leave. I didn't leave. I should have left. There's so many shoulda, coulda, wouldas in my life. So many. Um, but I'll tell you what. In 2024, if you look at the calendar, it mimics 1996 day for day. If you've got a calendar from 1996, you can use it this year. Um, 1996 was a bad year for me. So this year, I'm rewriting that year. It's the same calendar days. I'm rewriting 1996 in 2024. I'm doing things different, and I'm no longer ever going to be in fetal position. I'm going to stand up, and to any type, any form, from anyone, it doesn't matter. Um, you may see some changes. It could happen. It could happen. Um, let's see. Yeah, and now you don't need to protect that soft mush because the internal is now strong. So you don't need to fight anymore. My strength, I choose to walk away and not engage with the abuse and such. Right. And we don't need to. We don't have to stand for that. We don't have to stay for that. We don't have to we don't have to be present for that. How do you remember your purpose and find direction after healing from this level of abuse? Um, it just what Twin Flame said, talking about the abuse, um, facing it. It happened to me. It still happens to me sometimes, not in the same ways, but different ways. Um, I I what is the question? How do you remember your purpose? It just talking about it. Talking about it, exactly what Twin Flame Power said. Talking about it helps. Bringing it into the light helps. Keeping it out of them damn dark rooms helps. Um, Opening up the windows and the doors and changing the energy helps. Um, Going in and doing the abuse work, the trauma work, has been a real roller coaster for me, right? A real roller coaster for me. Yeah, I do talk to somebody. I do. I do have a coach. I do talk to somebody. That isn't Lee, right? That's somebody else. Um, because there's so much depth in when it comes to this healing, and I'm never going to be healed. I'm never going to be healed from that. Any of it. Not any of it. But I'll stay in healing over it, right? Um, Wherever my life goes, whatever universe, spirit, source, whatever you want to call it, has for me, I'm going, right? I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. How do I remember my purpose and find direction? That's super easy for me too. Other than talking about it, I hit my prayer closet, I hit my meditation, I talk to my spirit guides, I use my cards, I use my tools, right? I know my language. I know the language that my spirit guides understand. That I know that. I know what charges them. I know what brings them closer. Um, and I do that every day. And I let the universe guide me every day. Um, it's not, if I'm not doing something that I'm supposed to be doing, the universe tells me. I'm told. Um, and if I don't listen, I get slapped in the face with something, right? Um, I've noticed that as the years have passed, I've listened to spirit less than I should, um, way less than I should. And this year, I'm going to listen to spirit more. Um, Telling everybody that you are healing from an abusive situation, that you're dating, seeing, right? Even 20 years later, I'm healing from an abusive situation. I'm healing. It's not going to happen overnight because the abuse didn't happen overnight. It happened over a period of time, and so does the healing. Um, why do people hit people with their fists, with a baseball bat, with their open hand, the bottle? What's the point? What do you get from it? What are they getting from it? I don't know. I don't know what my ex-husband got from it. I do know that I wasn't 100% innocent in it, but I didn't deserve it. I know that. Um, when this person told me that I was incapable of love for about 12 hours, I felt that. I believed it. And I felt myself. I felt myself getting depressed and angry and sad and mad. And all these things were stirring up inside of me. And I even found myself in tears a couple times and really, really, really felt those words. And I went in um, to my restroom and I closed the door and I laid on the floor and I cried. And I laid on the floor. It was just laid there. And the floor was wet from my tears. It was a cleansing experience, but it was deep. I cried for a long time. I felt unlovable. I felt like nobody could love me, that I had built such a strong exterior that nobody could love me. Why would I accept love, right? How do I accept that? Why would I accept it? That's the question, right? Going through what I've been through. There's a list. Somebody should make a movie, a documentary, or some shit. I mean, I could make a list so quick. Let's do it. I was abandoned by my father at 5. As a matter of fact, I was abandoned by my father the day I was born. He didn't show up at the hospital. He stayed at the bar, right? My 14-year-old uncle was at the hospital with my mother, and he named me. Um, his name's Terry Lynn. My name's Sherry Lynn. He was 14. Um, Nevertheless, he's a wonderful guy. Um, After that, my mom met my stepdad. He was wonderful for a few years. It was great. I had an awesome little childhood till I turned 10. Then I was sexually abused. My father never came to see me. I would wait on the porch for him to show up. He never showed up. Maybe once or twice, 3 times, 4 times a year, if that, he would show up. Um, Waited on the porch. He would never show. I mean, it was either wait on the porch for my dad for hours or go in the house and be abused. So it is what it is. But I was sexually abused my whole adolescent years. Um, I found a boyfriend at 13. When we were 18, I found him on top of somebody else. I lost my trust. I immediately married a man 6 months later who was 7 years older than me. His ex wife told me he was physically abusive. I was like, no, he's not. And he was. I buried a child in 1990. I had a stillborn son. Um, Continued my abusive relationship um, until I rented a little house and I slowly took things from my house over, started putting things on the walls. I got it together and I moved in there with my kids. Um, the list can go on and on and on. We all have a story. We all have a story, right? I can tell mine a million times. I've told it. I like to tell it. I don't mind telling it. Um, but um, I don't feel in any way, shape, or form that I am unlovable or that I'm capable of love. It might be true for some people, in some people's eyes, I guess. But in my soul, I know better. And I know when people belittle me and tell me that I am worthless, that I know that that's how they're feeling about themselves. And I will not take it on. Um, let's see. Talking about abuse helped me so much. Yes. So yeah, it's been an interesting year so far, right? We're 15 days in. Um, Today's my mother's birthday. It's I called her, wished her happy birthday. Um, I don't foresee um, seeing her for her birthday. Um, I don't know. Um, I have a great relationship with my mom. It's fine. But there's some things, right? There are some things, and right now I'm healing. I'm going into healing from some things, and I can't have her around so much, um, triggering me, right? Um, so anyway, I've talked and talked and talked, and I'm ready to answer some of your questions, I guess. Um, but yeah, I just needed to get some things off my chest. I'm just watching as I see people um, staying in relationships that are just toxic and not healthy. It's not healthy. If someone's putting their hands on you, I get a hold of me. Look, if I have to send you a bus ticket, I'll send you a whatever. I just need you to get out of there. If someone is belittling you, calling you names, telling you're not worthy, telling you you're incapable of love, beating you down, why are you staying? because you feel like you're connected to him or her. You feel like you're connected spiritually. Um, Spiritually connected people lift them up, lift each other up. Spiritually connected people support one another. Spiritually connected people don't use those toxic traits that happen, I guess, in 3D as much. Not, I mean, of course, there's some toxicity. We're human beings, right? We're all human. I want to see no one, not one, not one person, not one child, not one man, not one woman, not one anybody, anything, and a dog, a cat, I don't care. Nothing, nobody should have to endure any type of abuse. Any. No hitting, no belittling, no. There's so many different types of things that can happen. Um, I've also um, experienced financial abuse, um, where the person would hold finances over my head, and you're not helping and you're not doing this. Financial abuse is hard. It sucks. It belittles, and it brings you down. Have I been brought down to the point of no return? I've been in a closet with a gun to my head twice. Once in 1996. Um, I sat in a closet with a gun to my head and cried for about 3 hours. I had written like 5 letters, 5 notes, and Spirit just really loud told me to put the gun down, and I did. And I went and put a bullet through the fish tank. Whatever. 1996. It's a bad year. Um, Hi, Andrea. Hi, Andrea. Hey, Sin. Um, oh my gosh, Sin, I saw the pictures. I was so excited. Um, Getting back to what I was saying, there is, I want to help. I'm here to help. I want to help. If you are in any type of abusive situation, I'll get on with a free 30-minute with me. Let's help. Please, let's help. Let's make this the year for it to be over. No one should have to be walking on eggshells in their own home. No one should have to be fearful that their life can be torn apart. I think, no, I don't think I know. Most of us know that when we've been abused in some way, shape, or form, we tend to not communicate and we tend to hold it all in, right? We tend to walk on eggshells and not want to rock the boat in any other relationships either, right? Um, I tend to tiptoe around, sometimes. I don't want to in any way, shape, or form upset anybody or interfere in anyone's whatever's going on in their brain, right? Even me. I don't want to interfere with whatever's going on with their brain. And if we have conflict, then um, I have to I have to step back and take inventory of my part, right? Um, and a while back when I was still in those abusive situations, um, I where was I going with that? My short term memory is done, guys. It is over. Um, and it'll come back. But I just don't want to see anybody else have to go through this. And that's why I'm here. And I was going to focus on the sexual aspect, but I know that universe has a big plan for me. And I take all of this that the universe sends me, and this person telling me that I am unlovable and that I'm incapable of love, well, you're wrong. You're wrong. That isn't the case at all. Um, I am capable, and I can, and I do, and I will. And I will not let anyone ever again have me feeling like I am worthless or that I'm a piece of shit or that I don't contribute to life in some sort of way. Um, Standing up to people may seem like um may seem like um well, is that going to turn you um is that going to turn you rude or mean? No, absolutely not. I've never been rude, never been mean on purpose. Um, yeah, maybe I was when I was little, so I don't know. But I'm I don't go around being mean to people, and but when it happens, and it's never anybody that I ever talk to here, right? It's usually immediate family. It's usually family, siblings, parent, all that mess, right? Um, Tiptoeing around my home. Um, I don't have to do that, but tiptoeing around your home, watching what you say, being guarded in how you dress, being guarded in what you put on your face, being guarded in how you wear your hair, being told what to wear, being afraid, being afraid to walk in the same room with the person that has the hand over you, being afraid to be comfortable in your own home, being scared of being hit, being scared of being left. Think about that. Think about that really hard. Fear of being left. Um, that's a security. Don't we all need that? Right? However, if we've been in relationship after relationship after relationship after relationship that's been abusive and toxic, right? Um, then you're going to go into the next one happy, loving, affectionate, kind, until you see something different. There's a change in the person's not quite the same, and the abuse happens, right? Well, I love them. I love them. I don't want to, I don't want to leave them because I love them. And I get that. I do get that, right? But it's still not an excuse. It's not an excuse to stay. It's not an excuse for you to ever, ever, ever be abused again. Ever. Where, if you're sitting right now and you're listening to me and you've been abused, there is no reason for you to ever be abused again. And if and when, or if it ever happens again, we're going to learn to stand up for ourselves, and we're going to learn to speak out of our minds if that was disrespectful, and we will not stand for it. And that's a big deal. It's a big deal acknowledging that the behavior that's being projected on me, I don't I don't I don't accept that. I don't need that. That's what not what I need for my healing. And if we're walking on eggshells, um oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited, Eric. Let's get to it. Exactly, sin. What sin is saying? You are definitely able to love. It's a trigger because all your life you were made to feel like you wasn't good enough or lovable. So true. So true. Um, Obviously, when I was being sexually abused, I was also being told that nobody will ever love me. I will never be um I will never be wanted, I will never be needed, I will never be loved, all these things. Um and I think the worst part is that's not ever spoken about. That's what I want to do. I want this year, I want to speak about, I want to talk about the little things that are behind the big things, the little things that stick into us like little knives, right? Little knives going in and out, in and out, in and out. Those little words, those little actions, right? That silent treatment, that um, being in the same room at the same time and not talking and having an attitude, that sleeping on the couch or sleeping in another room, or careful to make sure the house is all cleaned up so nobody has to all these little things that we do enable to not bring on an abusive situation, right? We try to protect ourselves, and what happens when we learn to protect ourselves, we start stuffing more and more and more and more and more, right? We've got to learn how to protect ourselves, yet speak about what's happened in our lives, and not, and how other people will still try to kick you down and bring you down. And I have spent my entire life fighting, like I said before, fighting for my life, basically. You know, I fighting, fighting physically, fighting my emotions, fighting my physical pain, my mental pain, my emotional pain, fighting fighting liver disease, fighting friends, fighting partners, fighting my parents, fighting my sisters, fighting my kids, fighting. I've spent so much time fighting, and I don't want to fight anymore. But I want to be strong enough to stand up and speak my feelings, and I need them accepted. And I need love, kindness, compassion, romance. And there's so many things we need, right? We all need these things. And for someone, anyone, sister, brother, mom, dad, spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever, comes in and tries to tell you that you have no worth, must mean that you have an awful lot of worth. That somebody is trying to tear you down so badly. When I was suicidal, holding the gun to my head, suicide's in my family. My father committed, or my father, my step, or shit, my grandfather committed suicide. Um, in 2000, I was pregnant with my third daughter. Um, can somebody say words that would want to make you take your own life? Of course. Words, just words, just words. Words like, you're incapable of loving, or you're unlovable. It could take you down to a dark place, a very dark place. But I know better. So if that person wants to feel and think that I have no worth and that I am unlovable, they're wrong. And I'm going to start I'm going to start speaking. Let's see what's going on here. I think yelling and screaming is normalized. I agree. They fight like sisters. He's just upset. He's just tired. It's boring without drama. Exactly. Sometimes these bad moments are tough times with ourselves or others. It's ongoing that we really need to admit that we need to change the situation. You're definitely able to love. I've read that. Um, One of the most difficult aspects after experience abuse for me was communication. How do you break that barrier of fear and find people who actually care? You know, um, Olga, it's hard. It's a barrier that we have to get through. But there's got to be a soul very similar to yours that when they come in, it has to be somebody with compassion. And the interesting thing is, you have to speak up. You have to tell the people that you're getting involved with, look, I'm in healing from some trauma, from some abuse. I have a hard time trusting. So, I need to believe what it is you say. And when the trust keeps being built and you keep being lifted and never belittled and never made to feel like you're less than, um, your soul will tell you. Your soul will project that energy to that peaceful, loving energy, healing energy, and open up the doors for somebody who is compassionate about what you've been through in your life. Um, you'll know. You'll know. And there'll never be any question. Not any question. And we do care, Olga. Trust and communication. And that's another thing. If you don't have communication, it's dangerous. But if you don't have trust in communication, right? Like I was saying, um, with someone who says that they wasn't raised with their word as their bond, right? Which basically gave permission for them to lie all the time, right? Oh, I wasn't taught that my word is my bond. Oh, wasn't taught that, right? So I don't have to say anything that, man, that's an easy out, isn't it? That's an easy damn way out. That's a real good permission slip to freaking lie. And finding that trust is trusting somebody's words, trusting what they say to you. And those words always remain true. Always. Always. In 1996 and 2024, right? Same. If I'm completely honest, even my job does and says stuff that makes me want to go Harry Carey out here, but it doesn't take long for me to remember they aren't worth my life. So true. So true. Work drained me like that too. I found I cared too much about the place, which was such a toxic, backstabbing place to be. Oh man. Right. Right. Getting out of the situations, getting out of the abuse, getting out of people who look at you and feel like you're less than, getting out of the situations where people look at you and tell you you're not worthy, where people look at you and tell you that you're incapable of love, walking away from it, um, finding the strength to stand up to it and walk away. And 2001. No, it was two. No, my daughter was born in 2000. In 2000, late 2000, um, is when I left my ex-husband and took my kids and walked away and made a home for me and my kids and not making a space for him because I knew that I was leaving. So I rented a home and I slowly decorated it, and I left. I found the courage one day just to stand up and say, you know what? I am not going to walk on eggshells around my house. I am not going to watch what I say because I feel like I'm going to be hit. I'm not going to be careful what I say to you because I feel like you're going to belittle me or scream or yell. I am not going to live in fear. I'm not going to live in fear. Um, fear fear's a lot. It's heavy. It's heavy. What are our what are most of our fears when it comes to abusive relationships, right? Fear that our security is going to be taken away and this person's going to walk out. Fear. It's the fear's the illusion. It's time to start standing up for ourselves. It's time to look at these abusive situations in the eye. It's time for us to stand up for ourselves and know our worth. That's what's important. Knowing our worth. I know what I'm worth. I know that I have value. I know that I'm capable of love. I know that I'm capable of loving. Um, I know that I'm a kind human being. I know that I love hard and I love deep. I know that I may not show it as much as I should. I know that we're all stronger than our minds tell us we are. Finding your community, the place where people love and accept you, is where you're supposed to be. The Twin Flame community is where I found that right here on YouTube. Yeah, same, Danny. Same. Like, we've met some great people, some awesome people. If it wasn't for Twin Flame community, I think I'd already met. I'd already not mean not. Yeah, I I don't know. When it comes to not being here anymore, I feel like twice I've sat in a closet with a gun to my head and almost took my life. I used to, even early in my marriage to Lee, I used to keep what I called suicide packs. And I kept a bottle of mixed pills, 5 or 6 Oxycontins, some Vicodin, just whatever I could find to put in the mix. And I would hide them in pockets and shirts in the closet and pants and bottles of pills, for the reason that if I ever wanted to take myself out and I was too big of a coward to shoot myself, that I could take those pills. And I got rid of all those. Um, and then life almost killed me, right? And I wanted to live. And Spirit gave me a second chance by getting another liver. I have a second chance at this life. I have a second chance at 1996. And I'm going to live it differently. I am not going to allow anyone else to make me feel like I am less. I'm certainly not a queen. I'm certainly not royalty. I'm certainly not special. I'm certainly not any of these things. I'm not higher than anybody. I'm not a teacher of anything. I don't feel like I know more than anybody else. I don't feel like um, that I put myself on any type of pedestal. I like to keep myself humbled, and I can't find myself in a circle with that type of energy. Um, Glad life gives us a chance. That's true. That's so true. And I've been told I don't deserve it. I don't deserve it. I don't deserve this second life. That came from my biological family. I don't deserve this. Um, and then to be told that I'm not lovable, that I'm incapable of love. Oh, we don't we don't have to hear that. Don't our own minds tell us that enough? We don't need to hear it from outside individuals. Our own minds beat us down enough. Our own minds beat us to the point of feeling worthless. Our own minds do that. Our own minds tell us these things. For somebody else to come along and say it really isn't needed. It's not necessary, right? We're beating ourselves up enough. Um, Let me see what we got going on here in chat. I just found a pill pack yesterday that I made years ago. I feel oh, hey Kels. What dang other people dumping their crap on total shits. That yeah. Poopy emojis. That's cute. Yeah, so sometimes family can be the worst. It's okay to ditch them. It is. It is. And that's okay. That's okay. If it's toxic, if it's not healthy, then get away from it. Get away from it. Um, I guess I've kept you guys a little bit long. That's okay. I had to get some shit off my chest. You choose love instead of fear, and we chose you instead of bullshit and shit. Yeah. Um, I want to address that real quick. Just real quick before I go. I watched some excerpts of the documentary recently on my phone. And I noticed the blatant disrespect of the way he talked to her, the way he spoke to her, the way he belittled her, um, the way he made her feel, and I could tell by looking at her, like she didn't have any worth. And his God complex. It's a lot. It's a lot. Um, I don't feel like I don't ever want to feel like that I have a God complex, that I'm higher than anybody else, that I feel like I'm a teacher of the people, or that I feel like I'm changing the world. I can't do all that by myself. I just want to be. I just want to be, and I just want to be me, and I just want to be accepted for who I am and for how I am. And if that's not the case, then you won't be in my circle. If I see you at Kmart, I might say hi. Is there Kmarts anymore? I don't know. You choose love instead of fear. Yep. I choose love. I choose peace. I choose healing. And I choose helping others go into healing, not bringing anybody else down. But I know where the level is. I've been there. I've been in the closet with a gun to my head. I've been stashing pill packs away. I've been thinking, I've been sitting in fetal position, laying in fetal position, wondering why I'm so unlovable. I've laid there and wondered why I'm incapable of love. I've laid there and in my own words, I am not worth anything. Why am I still hanging on to this life? I've been there. And okay, Gemma, my dog's getting animated. Um, I've been there, so I know what that's like. I know what that feels like. And if you're there, get a hold of me for a free 30-minute because I've been there and I can help you out of it, right? Um, I don't want to see anybody go through any of the things that I've had to go through in my life. I don't want to see anybody abused. I don't want to see anybody belittled. I don't want to see anybody made to feel like they're worthless. I know that I can't change the world. I know that I can't make that stop. Gemma. Um, but if I can help one person make it stop in their life, that's my mission. If I Hi Gemma. Hi. There look, there's people. There's people. Uh-huh. Oh, they haven't been fed. They haven't been fed. Um, I think most people feel that they want to be accepted for who they are and how they exactly. I want to be accepted for exactly who I am, all my flaws, everything, my incapability of loving, um, any of that. Shouldn't that be accepted? Shouldn't we be accepted for who we are? Shouldn't we be accepted for how we are? Shouldn't we be accepted for how we look, how we walk, how we stand, how we talk, our personality, our attitudes, right? Our moods, so many things. Shouldn't we be accepted? Shouldn't we all be accepted for that? I love you guys. Thank you for letting me rant. And my phone is blowing up. Thank you guys for listening. I'll be back Monday. Remember, nobody should have to be in an abusive situation. Please get a hold of me for a free 30-minute. Please. Don't, if somebody's hitting you, sexually abusing you, belittling you, putting you down, making you feel like you're worthless, let's stop it. Let's stop it. Nobody should be made to feel like they're worthless. It's a very desolate place to be. It's a very suicidal place to be. Someone telling you that you are fat, ugly, not worthy, not lovable, incapable of love, worthless, a piece of shit. There's so many things. If somebody is telling you these things, get a hold of me for a free 30-minute. Let me help you out of this because nobody should be feeling like they're stuck in a situation that they don't have to be stuck in. I mean that. See you guys next week.